Imagine this situation. The company you have worked for a long time goes bankrupt at one point. What feelings would come over you? Anger, bewilderment, sadness, or devastation? Our hero felt it all at once. Since his boss wasn't picking up the phone, he just ditched the poor guy. Sitting in the office in which the devastation was going on, the hero came to despair. He did not know what to do now. All he could do was yell for his boss to pick up the phone. He resented it. Did his boss just take off and run away, leaving him with nothing? 6 weeks later, a man was walking around the city at night looking for a job, but no matter where he asked for a job, nowhere would accept him because his age was too much. Staring at his phone, the man put his hands down, because it was hard for him to find even a temporary part-time job. A whole month passed and he still hadn't gotten a job. This gentleman was in big trouble. This time he won't even be able to pay his phone bills, and the next day to pay the rent for the apartment. Soon the man stopped and noticed a glow, wondering why it was so bright. A store appeared in front of him that he didn't think was here. Noticing an ad on the window, the man walked closer and then saw that the ad said the store was looking for a part-time employee. Gender or age is not important. Everyone is welcome. Realizing that there might not be another chance, he decided to try his luck. The girl greeted the man and he explained that he had seen the ad for a part-time job. The man asked if they were recruiting part-time workers. For some reason, these words surprised the girl, as well as the man, who wondered if the girl didn't know that they were looking for part-time workers. She apologized and then said that they were looking for a part-time worker. With a happy smile, the girl explained that she was the boss of this store. The man thought that for a boss, she looked somehow young, like a high school girl on a part-time job. The girl prepared a table and chairs for the interview and asked the man if he would like something to drink. In that case, he asked for a coffee Americano if possible. After sitting down at the table, the girl began to ask about the new employee. The man said his name was Lee Chong. He was 29 years old, lived nearby. The girl asked if Lee Chong had worked in the store. He said that he had worked in this field a few years ago. This made the girl very happy, as Lee had experience and his age was perfect. In fact, if it weren't for that, she would have taken him as her husband. Okay, it's a joke. She explained that she was a little older than Lee Chong, so she could address him informally. Looking at her, Lee Chong didn't think you could tell from her looks that she was older than him. The boss explained the obligations when applying for a job. Lee Chong is required to work for at least 1 year. Night shift every day from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. The rest of the time she would work. The man was a little sad that he would have to live at night again. But when the girl announced the salary, which was 20,000 won per hour, the man agreed without a second thought, and the girl was shocked that Lee Chong agreed so quickly. So she asked him if he needed to think about it, but he insisted that he would start from today. The boss was insanely happy about this. In that case, she asked Lee Chong to sign the document. After signing, the girl immediately handed the man his new uniform and then said she would give him a little briefing. After about 3 hours, the boss was about to leave the store, as her shift was coming to an end. Before she left, she told him that the goods were being delivered at night, so she asked Chong to check them off the list. Lee Chong was surprised that goods could even arrive at night. In that case, the girl explained that it happens when they are urgently needed. She would take care of the rest, and Lee Chong only needed to accept the goods. Lastly, the girl ordered him not to accept too many suspicious visitors. But as it turned out, Lee Chong was already used to working with suspicious people. Since everyone understood each other, the girl congratulated the man on his first day of work and then left the store. After saying goodbye, Lee Chong began to think about the fact that he would finally be able to pay the rent of his aunt's apartment. Since he had money, the man was very happy because not only did he get a job with a high hourly wage, but the boss turned out to be a very nice person. Although not so long ago, Lee Chong thought he would die in poverty. The girl was surprised that the man grasped everything on the fly, apparently the effect of years of experience in this field, so she expressed confidence that there was nothing to worry about. Lee Chong calculated that if he worked 12 hours a week, he would earn 1,680,000 won. The salary for a month will be about 6,700,000 won, maybe even more. So 1 year of working at this store is like Lee Chong working 10 years at some big company. At this moment, Lee Chong was really happy, because a month's salary, he would have enough to live for a few months. The man was inspired by this salary, so he decided to stay and do his best in this job. Soon the first customer arrived, whom Lee Chong greeted. The customer asked where they had the toothbrushes. The man was stumped, but pointed the buyer in the direction. The buyer inquired if it was that way, but Lee Chong didn't know what to say. He saw the sharp fangs and muzzle of some Chihuahua dog. The dog was clearly in a bad mood, so he ordered Lee Chong to respond by calling him a jerk. He insulted the vendor in every way possible, not understanding why the vendor was silent. The Chihuahua was angry because he had already had a rough day, and now he had some retard at the cash register. In that case, Li Chong pointed out to the dog that the toothbrushes were on rack 4. The dog-like man moved towards the brushes and mumbled something to himself. He was trying to find his cherished toothbrushes, and Li Chong wondered if there was a movie being filmed somewhere nearby. But the man somehow didn't even notice that there was a movie set around here somewhere. Although the dog mask looks amazing, so realistic. Back at the register, the dog asked how much he owed. Saying that the brushes cost 2,101, the dog held out a bill, and later went towards the exit. But Li Chong yelled back that he forgot his change. But the fierce Chihuahua wasn't happy that the stupid cashier was picking on him, so he asked him to keep the change. Li Chong didn't understand what had happened. At first, this customer acted like the last asshole, but he let him keep the change for himself, so he didn't understand what kind of feelings he should have. The man couldn't get enough of that mask on his face. He wondered how it could be so realistic. Besides, this customer growled like a real dog. Soon, another customer came in and placed a whole bunch of coins in front of Li Chong, flipping a coin. The goblin asked the vendor to exchange the change for bills, 10,001 each. Li Chong froze in place, not realizing that this green change was in front of his eyes. After taking another look at all this ugliness, he reached for his phone and began to call someone. In the meantime, the goblin was demanding to exchange the change. After getting through to his boss, Li Chong told her that the goblin had come to the store. After finishing counting the coins, the goblin finally left, and Li Chong lay at the cash register all tired, saying he wanted to go home. He remembered counting change for that green man. Also, he couldn't remember how many times he'd counted. And it seemed that when Li Chong was agonizing over the change, it was a pleasure for the goblin to watch the man suffer. In 20 minutes, Li had counted 145 101 coins and 31 501 coins. About to press the reset bell, the boss inquired if the visitor had left. A tired Li Chong plopped down at the counter and said he was crazy, because from the beginning, the visitors looked strange. The first was a man with the head of a chihuahua, irritated about something. Next came a goblin who asked to exchange 30,001 in change for bills. Li Chong realized he was talking nonsense, but the boss said there was nothing strange about it. After all, this store is right in the center of the teleportation zone, so it's normal that there would be a large number of kobolds and goblins. But still, boss was outraged that the goblin made the goblin count the change, calling him a contagion. The man asked the girl to stop and inquired about the teleportation zone, and what did it have to do with the store. She explained that in order to get more customers, a teleportation zone was needed. Otherwise, the store wouldn't bring in so much revenue. Li Chong still didn't understand anything, but asked the girl if she was a mage. And the boss confirmed the employee's hunch, saying that she was a mage and she was the one who cast the spatial movement spell on the store. The girl boasted that this was why she had so many store points. Li Chong stood still and didn't know what to say. The girl apologized for not warning the young man, saying that it had just slipped her mind. She explained that she would tell him tomorrow, but it was strange to her that Li Chong was reacting so strongly, as if he were from another world. At that moment, Li Chong realized where he was. All around him was full of different creatures and mythical races, as if from some fantasy world. The boss laughed at Li Chong, calling him a joker. At that moment, a young man with trembling hands and voice recalled the girl's words, claiming he was from another world. Li Chong confirmed that it was true. He is indeed from another world. In the world he lives in, there is no magic and no other races. At this point, the girl realized that she didn't understand anything at all. In that case, Li Chong wondered what would happen to him now. She called out to Chong and wondered what that strange sound was. At that moment, a creepy creature like a demon knocked on the door. The girl with a sinister smile asked to open the door, and Li Chong was very much afraid, because he did not know what was waiting for him next. Talking on the phone, the boss was trying to understand what was going on there, and Li Chong explained to the boss that there was a ghost here. Talking on the phone again, the girl asked if he could hear her. Li Chong confirmed that he could hear. He watched as the girl looked and chose what to buy today. At this point, the boss was wondering how come Li Chong had moved into their world. After all, this was the first time such a thing had happened. But all the young man could do now was to hide behind the cash register and be afraid. But pulling himself together, he realized that he had to work, so he asked his boss how he should behave with these creatures. Looking at the girl, for some reason she fell to the floor and started laughing creepily for no reason. In that case, the boss inquired, "What does this girl look like?" Li Chong said that she had little horns on her head and little wings on her back. The boss then explained that it was a succubus and they were not dangerous at all, so she asked Li Chong not to worry. She also asked the man to look under the counter and look for a curse meter there. Li Chong started looking for this device and the girl said that it was multicolored, so the man should find it right away. After rummaging through his things, Li Chong finally found the meter, which looked like a magical children's wand, as if from some children's anime. He was surprised that this toy magic wand was the curse meter, so he asked the girl why it looked like that. In that case, the boss explained that usually if someone is cursed, the person then walks around all sad, refusing to let the curse level be measured. That's why she came up with the idea of making the meter colorful and bright. But it seemed to the man on the contrary that the mere sight of this thing made him even sadder. Anyway, the boss told him how to use the meter. You need to put the meter to the skin area of the client and press the button, and then just wait. As soon as the man raised his head, he saw a succubus peeking behind the cash register. She looked at the man and apologized, and Li Chong was sure that succubi weren't dangerous. At least that's what the boss had said. At that moment he accidentally hit the button that activated the magic meter into action, thus hitting the girl right in the forehead, causing her to start to fall and hit the ground, and Li Chong didn't understand how that happened or why the thing worked that way. Sitting on the floor, he looked at the magic wand and what it did, then got up and went to see what happened to the visitor. After looking at her breathless body, Li Chong informed his boss that he had just killed the customer. The boss asked if it was true that Li Chong had hit the customer, and the man confirmed the girl's words, and he hit her hard enough. The girl told the young man not to worry, because that's how the magic meter works. Though she usually tries to stay away from the curse, she wondered what the meter was showing. Li Chong said that the meter was glowing with a pink light. In that case, the girl told the man to take the medicine that is next to the chewing gums. Li Chong found the medicine for heartache, and the girl confirmed that it was the same medicine. So she asked to give 2 pills to that girl on the floor. The curse that was on the succubus was because of the heartache, but still these pills wouldn't cure her, but they would work for a while. Soon the succubus began to recover, and the man thought that for a first encounter with a succubus, it was sudden. Li Chong decided to move closer and inquire about her. He asked if she was alright, saying that he had some medicine for her. Suddenly everything around her bloomed with colors, and looking at Li Chong, he thought she looked pretty good, certainly for a succubus. Li Chong wanted to ask if she was okay and give her pills, but the girl couldn't help herself and started vomiting rainbows, which gave Li Chong an indescribable shock when he saw it. But it seemed to make the girl feel better, judging from her facial expression. She felt very good, but the dumbfounded Li Chong did not feel so good. The man was very unhappy. Therefore, he asked the customer to leave the premises if she finished her business. Looking at the man, the girl replied in the negative, saying that she didn't want to leave. This of course started to piss off Li Chong. But when the girl looked at the puddle of her rainbow, she fell to the floor again. The young man didn't realize what she was doing. Was she sleeping again? Soon a new customer came in. Looking at him, he looked like some kind of vampire. He was dumbfounded that something incomprehensible was going on here. Li Chong told him welcome, but he had a look of utter displeasure on his face. It was his first day on the job and already something incomprehensible was going on. He asked the customer what exactly he was looking for. The vampire asked the salesman if they had any packets of 17-degree blood. Li Chong told his boss that a new customer came in, which is why he didn't have time to give the medicine to the succubus. But as soon as the customer leaves, he will deal with the succubus. The boss asked Li Chong to be calm, and also told the vampire that they only have 15-degree blood, so let him go to another store. She explained that when selling blood, you have to check the documents. She asked if she understood correctly that the customer was a vampire, and Li Chong confirmed her guess. When the vampire was choosing drinks, the boss explained that vampires live a long time and look young most of the time, so they have to renew their ID cards regularly. At renewal time, they walk around with expired IDs, but they have an X stamp on them. Usually vampires with these IDs are of age. Still, she said not to worry, as they have a magical defense system, so it's safe to ask for IDs. Thinking about the defense system, the vampire was about to pay for the goods and Li Chong approached the cash register. He explained to the vampire that they only had 15-ounce blood in sachets, so he told the young man to go elsewhere and buy blood there. In that case, the vampire agreed to take only what he was carrying in the basket. Li Chong punched the packet that cost 101 and the vampire was agreeable to that purchase. Afterward, he asked for a pack of cigarettes as well. Li Chong asked what kind of cigarettes he wanted. The vampire stood in a stupor, but later pointed to the cigarettes. Pointing at the cigarettes with his hand, the man asked if these were the right cigarettes, and the customer cheerfully said that these were the cigarettes the seller had his hands on, so he asked to give them to him. After exchanging glances, Li Chong noticed some oddity. He assumed that this buyer was underage. Therefore, the man asked the vampire to provide the documents. In that case, the vampire said that his ID was on reissue, but he only had the old one. At that time, Li Chong also asked for at least some identification documents, but the vampire asked if he could just sell the goods. But the man explained that there is a law that says that anyone who does not provide proof of age cannot buy such goods. Having no other choice, the buyer angrily gives Li Chong his documents, mentioning that his friends are waiting for him. Looking at the documents, they looked like ID cards from his world. There was also an X-shaped seal on this document, indicating that this document was old. There was nothing suspicious at first glance, but if you looked closely, you could see that the vampire's photo was peeling off. Li Chong decided to see what it was, because there was a strange glow underneath the photo. When the vampire's photo was torn off, a rainbow glow came out and scared both the vampire and Li Chong. The buyer didn't realize what the seller was doing, for this rainbow ray began to chase him. Running away, he wondered what the hell he had done, but Li Chong himself didn't realize what it was, as it was the vampire's documents. While the succubus slept a peaceful sleep, the vampire asked to get those rays away from him, but the man didn't even realize where he would put them. Soon the rainbow rays finally disappeared, thus frightening the two men. Li Chong decided to take a closer look at the documents and soon discovered a completely different personality on it, which resembled a cat man, and even with a mustache. The man was clearly dissatisfied. He told the buyer that he had torn off the sticker and the document had changed. That immediately shocked the young man. Li Chong didn't understand what the hell this was, but he knew it was something illegal. These words really scared the vampire, who didn't even know what to say. In that case, he asked the boss if she heard the conversation. The girl confirmed the man's words and told Li Chong to call the police. But at the same moment, the young man quickly grabbed his documents and ran away from the store, leaving only a dusty trail behind him. The boss asked Cheney to tell what just happened. In that case, the man explained that he decided to check if the customer was underage. And that surprised the girl very much. But still, she didn't understand how he knew, because she didn't hear the protection working. Li Chong said that that guy gave him a fake ID with a sticker from which some rainbow fireworks appeared. But the girl didn't seem to understand what sticker and fireworks were talking about. The seller explained that the buyer had stuck his picture on someone's ID, and when he peeled it off, all sorts of lights and fireworks started flying out of the ID. The girl was surprised that Li Chong just took it like that and saw that there was something wrong with the ID. The man was also surprised, for he had never seen such a thing in his life. The boss told Li Chong that it was actually quite difficult. In their world, identity documents are very difficult to forge or destroy. However, those who forge IDs don't stop that. They put on a special disguise magic that is hard to notice with the naked eye. In that case, Li wondered, is it really that hard? The girl explained that the magic in the store is certainly weak, but it will definitely notice unusual or illegal things. Therefore, she couldn't understand how the man realized all this. Li Chong wondered about the magic of disguise. He assumed that that vampire had forged the documents, although if you think about it that way, he himself was jumping around in surprise and fright. So he wondered what it was. In any case, the girl went to Chan and told him that they should terminate their employment contract. And that news finally got to him. The man asked why. Did he do something wrong? The girl replied that it's not that. Li Chong is doing well personally. But she said that the man came here by accident, and she thought it would be scary and hard for Li to work in such a place. But Li Chong said it was okay. He wasn't scared, and it wasn't hard at all. He really wanted to stay here to work, which surprised the girl. The man asked if he could stay. Li Chong went into thought, something that the boss needs to think hard about, although the situation is really very unusual. He didn't understand how he should be. He absolutely had to stay in this place, otherwise he would starve to death. After all, he had to pay rent, insurance, and credit card. Besides, he wanted to save some money. All in all, Li Chong was very scared of losing this job, as he had a lot of expenses next month. Li Chong was about to offer his boss a way out, but before he could say anything, the girl agreed, but asked the man not to make any complaints, and Li Chong agreed. He also asked the girl to stay on the phone with him today as he was a bit worried, and the girl wanted to suggest the same. She also wondered if Chan had given the medicine to the succubus, and the man was going to do it now. He took out the package, opened the contents and poured directly into the mouth of the girl, who was sleeping a sweet dream. Looking at the girl, he didn't realize what was wrong. Was the medicine not working? But the boss asked not to worry as it would take some time and the girl would wake up soon. However, she asked Li Chong to be careful as she might vomit. But the man was already prepared for that, as he wouldn't let it happen a second time. The boss inquired if the man was dizzy, and Li Chong answered in the negative. The girl was surprised and in such a case, asked him to put the curse meter to himself. Looking at the device, Li Chong told the girl that the meter did not glow, only made sounds. He inquired what was wrong with it. The boss explained that there was nothing wrong with him, but still his condition was very, very unusual. Li Chong tried to find out what the boss meant, but at that moment, the store started to shake. Li Chong even assumed that meteorites were falling in this world. He ran outside and running outside, he looked up and was just dumbfounded to see a bunch of boxes of goods in front of him. As it turned out, it was a delivery. A girl riding a Pegasus greeted the man, recognizing him as the new guy she had been told about. Li Chong reciprocated, but asked him to wait. He informed the boss that a man on a Pegasus with a cargo had arrived, asking if it was the goods she was talking about. The boss confirmed the man's words, telling Yoon-ha that she could make the delivery today. He said Yoon-ha's name and the girl said it was her name. Sung Yoon-ha, that was the name of the girl who delivered those shipments. And since Lee Chan had the information he needed, she asked him to open the door. The man immediately rushed to the door to open it, and soon the girl asked Chan to check all the goods that came in, and then sign the paper and asked him to do it properly. Lee Chan told the boss on the phone that he didn't know the written language of this world, so he asked how he could check the goods. The boss informed that she would talk to Yoon-ha about it, and Lee Chan just needs to sign. He asked the boss what goods came in. The girl said snacks, drinks, and dragon scales came in. She thought they wouldn't get the goods this time, but Yoon-ha managed to get everything the boss ordered, so now the store wouldn't have to worry. The dwarves from the academy often ask for dragon scales for some of their fakes. Soon the girl realized that there were no dragons in Li Chang's world, since there was no magic and no other races. For her, it's even worse than living in a remote village. Li Chan didn't get it. Did the boss really compare her world to some village? Soon the man noticed that the succubus buyer was finally awake, so he asked her to pay for the medicine. But the succubus turned to Li Chan, calling him Mr., asking, "What is love?" Li Chan was already tired of this person, so he asked the boss to call a cab, as he would like to get rid of the strange client as soon as possible. Soon he brought the succubus to the cab and put her in the car. He handed her her card and her medication receipt as she dozed off again. Li Chan asked her to hold it tight or she would lose it. The cab driver, who looked like some kind of hamster, asked, "Is this girl drunk?" The man explained that this girl was under some kind of curse, but he had already given her medicine, so she would be fine. He still had his doubts about that though, but still asked the driver to bring this girl safely. Looking at Li Chan, the succubus still wanted to understand what love was. After all, even after feeling it, she still doesn't understand it. Doesn't understand what it is. The man said it's when you don't do what you want to do. Looking at Li Chan, she asked, "What does that mean?" The man was silent for a second, and later said that it was nothing like that, it just came out. He bowed to the girl and hoped that they would never meet again. He stretched out from fatigue and hoped that everything would be calm now. But at the same second, the door of the store opened abruptly, and Yoon-ha came out of the store, looking a little sad. Li Chan inquired as to what had happened. In that case, the girl asked Li Chan, telling Ani that she would take the dragon scales she brought today back. The man inquired what was the reason, and the girl informed him that there was a problem with the dragon scales. While in the store, Li Chan watched Yoon-ha and boss discussing something, wondering if the problem was that serious. It reminded him of a moment in his life when a caterer had a fight with a cafe hostess over spoiled food. But the young man was glad that it didn't affect him in any way. All he has to do is watch the people above him like a meerkat and how they handle things. Soon, Yoon-ha asked the man if she understood correctly that his name was Li Chang, and the man confirmed the guess. She held the phone up to Lee and said that Henny wanted to talk to him. She asked Chan to go along with Yoon-ha and check on the dragon scales. After a while, they were already walking down the stairs downstairs. Chaney wondered if there was definitely a store here, since this place looked more like some kind of dungeon with monsters. Yoon-ha assumed that it was the young man's first time here, and Lee Chan confirmed the guess. She expressed her confidence that he would soon get used to it since she had the same reaction the first time too. Yoon-ha mockingly told her friend that she wasn't the only one who thought she had unusual taste. But the boss felt that since it's her store, she does what she wants. Yoon-ha started to mock her friend again, saying that she doesn't know about moderation because the interior of the store is so unusual. Soon the two were already in the warehouse where it was very dark. Yoon-ha asked the man to wait for her to turn on the light and Lee Chang agreed. He told the boss that he had come to the warehouse, so he asked what he should do now. After thinking for a while, the girl told the man to do what she said since she had everything planned out. When the lights came on, Lee Chang saw a not very pleasant picture. There was purple slime all over the floor and ceiling, as if someone had shredded the poor slime. Oh, had Rimuru Tempest seen this? As it turned out, all that slime was coming out of the dragon's scales. The man was shocked and sickened. The boss thought it was a bit dirty, but Lee Chan was shocked because there was a sticky substance everywhere. As it turned out, it was pus, a kind of magical dirt that forms when scales are not properly cleaned. Lee Chang wondered if these turtle-like shells were dragon scales. Yoon-ha confirmed the young man's hunch. She had been told this morning that she had found the scales, so she hurried to collect them. But in her haste, Yoon-ha gave the job to the wrong people. The condition isn't that bad, but it's still possible to clear all the pus and use the scales. But there is still a problem. The problem is that no organizations that can take care of it are working. Since it's nighttime now, the time is 3 hours and 12 minutes. So the boss decided to ask Lee Chan for help. She asked the man to touch this pus. This shocked the man, as he definitely didn't want to do that. Yoon-ha held out the slime to him, but it was too much for Chaney. She asked him to touch it, expressing her confidence that this slime wasn't that dangerous. Lee Chan didn't want to do that, as he thought he might get sick. In that case, the boss offered Chan 100,000 won, and then the man immediately agreed to do it. He held out his hand, and Yoon-ha thought the man was corrupt. When he wanted to touch the substance, the slime started to move away from his hand. This surprised him. Lee Chan even thought the slime was alive. But the boss told the man not to say anything stupid, as it was just a piece of magical slime. Yoon-ha was surprised that this slime was avoiding Chan, and the boss ordered to touch that slime as soon as possible, and Lee Chan did what was required of him. Finally touching the slime, it began to glow, much to the surprise of the man and the girl. Soon this clot of slime changed its color. Yoon-ha was very happy, for her friend's words were confirmed. Yoon-ha showed the boss that the slime clot had really cleared up. But the boss thought it was too early to rejoice, so she asked Lee Chan to use the meter. After using the magic meter, it didn't show anything, and boss was sure that the curse magic had evaporated from the slime. The meter would not react to an object or creature if the purification was done properly. In the end, the boss concluded that Chaney's body had an anti-magic property, but the man was only puzzled by it. Yoon-ha explained that he has a body that is not affected by magic. The boss then ordered the man to turn off the speakerphone to talk in private. She asked Lee Chan to recall an occasion when he had tried the meter on himself. At that moment, the meter made some noises. This kind of reaction happens in two cases. First, when the creature has no mana at all. Boss assumed that in their world it would be very dangerous. But since Lee Chong is from another world, it's impossible. The only thing left to assume was that the resistance magic prevented the meter from working. She really wanted to test this theory, so she asked Lee Chan to go with Yoon-ha. The boss decided to tell the man everything in detail once Yoon-ha left, as it wasn't very convenient to talk right now. Then, the young man still wondered, what does all this mean? How could he have a body that acts negatively on magic or something like that? Oh, and why would he find out about this on his first day of work? Lee Chan even thought about being like the heroine of the drama who discovers the secret of her birth. But no sooner had the man thought of something else on his head, Yoon-ha sealed him to the wall, thus really scaring Chan. She decided to ask Lee to do something for her. The man didn't understand what she meant. In that case, the girl asked the young man to help her clean the dragon scales. The girl was sure that Chaney would succeed, but he didn't understand how he would do it. In that case, looking at Lee Chan with pitying eyes like the cat from Shrek, the boss and Yoon-ha simply begged with their gazes for the young man to help them. Unable to resist their stares, Lee Chan still agrees, only asking to be shown how to do it. Yoon-ha explained that it was simple, just stick your hand in that hole, a hole full of pus. But Lee Chan still started to refuse, which Yoon-ha was surprised by. The man suggested that it looked dangerous, plus it was just disgusting. Yoon-ha was sure that nothing would happen since Lee Chan has a special body, asking him to hold his hand in the thing for just 1 second. But Lee Chan stood his ground, because he didn't want to do such a disgusting job. Yes, he didn't want to do it until the boss said that the man would get a bonus if sales went well. In that case, Lee Chong suggested he could live without one arm. Up close, by the way, this thing looks even more disgusting. But there was nothing to be done. Lee Chong would tolerate it for the money. He stuck his hand into the dragon scales for a bonus, and the slime immediately started sucking the man's hand, something Yoon-ha was puzzled by. Taking hold of it, she tried to keep Lee Chan from being sucked inside the scales, and after the young man noticed the pus being sucked back into the hole, noticing some sort of glow. When the pus was completely sucked back into the hole, however, Lee Chan couldn't believe that this had even happened. It was his first day of work, and the hell is going on. Yoon-ha, who was lying on the ground, tried to get up, and Lee Chan asked how the girl was feeling, if she was hurt. But the girl assured that she was fine, wondering if Lee Chan was okay. As it turned out, Yoon-ha had cushioned the man's falls, so that was why he was fine. Yoon-ha asked her to check the scales, and after applying the meter, he only made a sound, but there was no reaction. In that case, Yoon-ha assumed it had worked out. She was grateful to Lee Chan for saving her from losing several tens of millions of won, much to the man's embarrassment. As she left, she praised Chan for a job well done, and she would call her boss to tell him how helpful he was today. She also said that there would be another delivery in a few days, but that it would not happen again. Lee Chan was surprised because he thought there was a delivery every day. Yoon-ha said that delivering goods is not easy. In that case, the man wished her to get there safely, addressing her not you. But the girl asked to speak without formality so they would address each other as you. Yoon-ha explained that the boss told her that Lee Chan is only 1 year older than her, so she asked Lee Chan to just call her Nuna. This confused the man, calling her Yoon-ha, but later still called her Nuna. After fixing her glasses, she said goodbye to Lee Chan, who was looking into the distance. The sun's rays were already illuminating Lee Chan, who had just realized that it was already morning. In the morning, there were many customers who were in a hurry to go somewhere, asking the seller to do things faster because they had a bus waiting for them. Lee Chan asked to pay 9,600 won and also offered a bag. The female dog gave the money, but asked to keep the change and then ran outside. In that case, the man asked the next person to come up. On the clock, the hands showed almost 9 a.m., and Lee Chong was already dying of fatigue, as it had been a very long time since he had worked at night. The boss on the phone inquired if Lee Chan was tired. While chatting, she praised him for his excellent work, promising that she would give out a bonus, and the man thanked the girl. She also asked if the man falls asleep at night. But before he could answer his boss, Lee Chong greeted the new customer, who for some reason he did not see in front of him. He assumed that the customer had gone straight out. The man, answering the question in the chat room, explained that he usually didn't sleep well at night. In that case, offered the man to make a sleep potion, and the young man was surprised that the boss knows how to do such a thing. But the girl explained that she could do many things, for she was a very good magician. Lee Chan could not imagine that there would come such a day when he would be made magic potions. Soon someone called out to the man. Behind the counter, he could see someone's head with horns on it. Looking down, Lee Chong saw a little girl who asked the uncle if they had any colored paper, and also scissors. In that case, after thinking carefully, Lee Chong pointed out that everything she needed was on that rack. But since they were hanging high, the man offered to get everything she needed for the little girl. But the girl refused to help and only thanked the salesman for pointing out the items. Looking at the girl, he saw that she was very small and so shy. Also, her body was completely white. He wondered what kind of creature was she. Lee Chong began to guess that this girl was most likely either a lizard or a dragon. When he saw that the girl couldn't get her goods and was about to cry, he immediately ran over to her and got what she needed, pointing to the paper and scissors, and the girl thanked the man. Lee Chong assumed that if she really was a reptile, she could spew fire if she got upset and cried. He didn't want to get his store burned down on his first day of work. The girl looked at the merchandise and later told Lee Chong that she couldn't buy scissors. He asked what was the matter. The girl explained that she only had 5,000 won and was short of 100 won. In that case, the man offered to lend the girl 100 won. But the girl said she couldn't because her mom told her not to take money from strangers or bad things would happen. Then Lee Chan asked why she needed scissors and paper. She explained that it was a gift for Parents' Day. She first learned that there was such a day in kindergarten. Her mom used to give her gifts for her kids' day all the time, and the girl didn't even know there was a Parents' Day. So this time, she wants to give a gift to her mom. Lee Chan was embarrassed by this cuteness, but said that she could make origami with her own hands, but the girl showed her clawed hands and said that she couldn't, because if she put a little effort, the paper would tear. Looking at the girl's claws, Lee Chong thought that not only paper could be torn with such claws. The man didn't want such a cute child to get upset, but with such hands, it would surely be difficult for her, and she won't accept money. Moreover, she wants to give a gift so badly. In that case, he turned to the girl, suggesting to her that he would lend her his scissors. He took out a stencil and told the girl to lay down the colored paper and start cutting along the lines. The dragon girl thanked her uncle and began her work. Lee Chong didn't know what to do, because the scissors can't be taken outside the store, and he explained this to the girl. But the girl had already used several sheets in a row, as she was cutting all wrong. Lee Chong even thought that he had organized some kindergarten. But there was only one thing left to do: wait for the end of the workday. Even if she was a child, the man knew it was wrong to let her do origami in the store like this. Besides, the boss would be coming soon, and Lee Chan didn't know what he would say to her. Soon, the girl asked her uncle to wait for a while. She went behind the grocery shelf, and after pulling out the chocolate, she asked about the cost. The man said the chocolate cost 2,000 won, asking if she wanted to buy it, and the girl confirmed her guess. After giving the seller 2,000 won, Lee Chan gave her the chocolate and told her to open and eat it. After opening the chocolate, the girl offered half of it to the man, saying she could eat it and do origami. Lee Chan was of course grateful for the chocolate, but suggested that she shouldn't since she had bought the chocolate herself. But the girl thought it was right, since the young man had helped her. Besides, her mom said that if she ate a lot of chocolate, her mouth would rot. In that case, Lee Chong wondered what would happen to his mouth. She waved the chocolate bar, asking to eat together. In that case, the man agreed and started eating the chocolate, and at the same moment, the boss came in, who was sure that Lee Chan was very tired after working all night. But in the end, she caught this picture of the man eating the chocolate. After quickly chewing the chocolate, he greeted the girl and she asked about the little girl. Lee Chan explained that there weren't many customers, so he decided to lend her a pair of scissors. He apologized, saying that the girl didn't have enough money to buy the scissors. The man assumed that she would finish quickly, but things took a bit longer. The boss understood the situation and said that this girl was just too cute. Lee Chan asked, "Don't all babies look like that?" Boss said that Lee Chan is right, but this little girl is a member of a special race. She's a dragon, a purebred dragon. dragons grow and develop in the egg for 3 years. During this period, in addition to the whole body, something else develops. Horns, magical senses. Looking at this little girl, the boss explained that adult dragons are still okay, but the babies must be having a hard time. Li Chang asked why. The boss explained that young dragons can see the colors of other creatures' magic through their horns, and it's hard for them to control this ability until they're older. They subconsciously detect magical abilities, as young dragons have no experience at all in distinguishing the colors of creatures' magic. They may mistake evil magic for good magic and find themselves in danger. In other words, in order to realize whether the creature in front of them is dangerous or not, dragons need to have experience with them. In that case, Li Chang assumed that any stranger to dragons could be potentially dangerous. And even if he treats the dragon well, it still doesn't mean anything, and boss confirmed the hunch. That's why dragon parents instruct their children on how they should behave around strangers. And considering that she is a purebred dragon, her parents are especially protective of the little girl. Soon, the girl called out to Li Chang, saying that she was quite finished, and judging from her face, she was very pleased. The boss wanted to praise the girl for such a beautiful job, but the dragon girl quickly hid behind Li Chang, thinking that the boss was a bad person. And then the man understood the girl's words. Soon it was time for the workday to end. In that case, the boss told the little girl that Appa needed to go home since he had worked all night and now he needed to rest. The little girl asked the young man if he would come back later. In that case, Li Chang suggested that she leave everything here and come anytime in the morning. She inquired if it was okay to do that, and the boss assured the girl that of course you can. Besides, they are very happy to have her, saying that she could come whenever she wanted. Dragon thanked her uncle and afterward the boss, calling her aunt. But that didn't quite please the girl, so approaching the little girl and looking at her with a creepy look, the boss asked her to just call her Ani. Li Chang realized that for the boss, age was a sore subject. Soon the dragon girl left, and since that was the case, the boss assumed that they should get ready to send Li Chang home. She asked Chan to open her locker door and he wondered which one. Opening the locker door in front of him, he wondered what she wanted to do. He saw a globe in front of him that had a keyboard on it. The boss explained that it was a special magic device that allowed him to move the store from place to place. Li Chan saw it and thought it was very cool. Some combination of futuristic science and technology. And the boss began to praise herself, saying that she made this device and that their store was the center of the teleportation zone. However, she ordered Li Chan not to touch the device, since it has the coordinates of where the store is located on it. If you accidentally touch it, you could be transported to another zone. So she asked the man to be extremely careful, because after moving, the merchandise would also change. The boss assured me that it was not difficult to use the machine, so she asked me to enter the address of his house into the search engine. Although she was the one who was supposed to do it originally, there was still a chance that they wouldn't be able to move to Li Chang's world. The man didn't understand how this was possible. After all, it was the boss who made the device. In that case, she explained that the magic of spatial movement assumes that the caster has clear information about the destination. For example, the place where the restaurant serving pasta stood might turn out to be a field of flowers. So if the caster has never been to a place, the magic may simply not work. That's when the man realized that there was a possibility that he might end up in an obscure place. Simply put, the girl said that she didn't know Li Chan's world well, so it would be better if he was the one to move them there. Looking at the magic device, he assumed that since it was magic, it wouldn't work. After all, while cleaning the pus off the scales, the girl had said that his body had the opposite effect on her. But the boss was confident that he would succeed, asking him to trust her. In that case, the man felt it was worth a try. He assumed that the boss wouldn't wish him harm. Li Chang asked, did he just need to enter the address of his house? And the girl confirmed the guess, saying that he should also think hard about what he wanted to return home. After all, the most important thing is a strong desire, whether it's good or bad memories. Touching the device, Li Chang wished to return home, to the place where he was betrayed by his bastard employer, to the world where he was happy as a child, to the place where he had fun all day with his friends, to the world of irony. Soon, the girl called out to Cheney and asked him to go outside and check. The man inquired if it worked, but the girl didn't know anything, so she asked him to go outside and check. In that case, the man opened the door of the store and saw that he was indeed in his neighborhood. In just a few seconds, Li Chang was in his world. Soon, his boss approached him, saying that she was not mistaken. After all, his body was subject to the mind. She inquired as to what Li Chang was thinking when he was cleaning the scales. The man explained that he was hoping that everything would go well. The boss explained that if Chanya's body didn't have any properties, there was a chance that the dragon scales could have simply been destroyed. But fortunately, everything had gone well. Looking at Li Chang, She assumed that there was a possibility that Cheney's body possessed special properties. In that case, the man interrupted the girl, inquiring. So he was forced to touch that slurry based on the girl's guess? And the girl had confirmed the hunch. But if Li Chong still ruined the scales, then it was no big deal. In any case, she explained that Li Chong was able to control his body. It probably had something to do with the fact that he had accidentally gotten into her store. But still, it remains to be seen to understand more, and then asked if Li Chong was interested in anything else. But the man answered in the negative. In that case, the girl handed him an envelope as well as a sleep potion. Finally walking into his house, Li Chong was not so happy to see his old tiny one-bedroom. And since he has to go to work today too, he decides to set his alarm clock. Taking out his phone, he notices a sleep potion, remembering his boss's words that if Li Chong drinks this potion, he will fall asleep immediately. The man didn't realize that the boss would actually prepare this potion for him. He wondered if the potion really had such an effect. Setting the alarm clock for 9:30 in the evening, the man began to drink the potion, and since it was prepared by the boss, it would surely work. After drinking the potion, the man hoped he wouldn't be completely out of it and hear the alarm clock. Some time passed and the man finally woke up. It was 9:31 in the evening, which meant that this potion would be a good thing, because Li Chong had slept like he had never slept before. Stepping outside, Li Chong was more awake than ever. He knew that yesterday he was really in a different world, and it was not a dream. He wondered if the store would still be standing in the same place as yesterday. And seeing the store in front of him, Li Chong was surprised that that day had not been a dream after all. He wondered if he was the only one seeing the store, or did others see it too. When he entered the store, the man saw a bald head in front of him who was not happy about something. The customer assumed if he drank the drink right there, he would still have the bottle, and if he gave it away, he could get 101 for it. In that case, he would give 2001 for soju, saying he would drink it here. Besides, the bald elf said he'd drink it all in one go, and since he thought right, he asked the girl to open the bottle for him. This confused Li Chong a bit, as he didn't understand what was going on here. He thought it was better that it was all a dream. Meanwhile, the boss told the customer that it was against the law to drink alcohol in the store, so she asked him to just buy alcohol and drink it at home as much as he wanted. But the elf really didn't understand what the problem was. He didn't understand why he couldn't drink alcohol where he bought it. The boss wanted to explain everything to him again, but Li Chong intervened and explained that legally, the store was a place of recreation, as well as a canteen like a buffet or canteen, so drinking alcohol inside the establishment was forbidden by law. These words surprised the girl, thinking that Li Chong knew quite a lot. Li Chong went on to explain that the same applies to the area surrounding the store, so he asked her to buy a drink and drink it at home. And these words surprised the girl even more. She asked the young man when did he get here? Li Chong said he had just come in, praising his boss for a good job. In any case, the elf didn't understand why some person was prying. In that case, Li Chong explained that he was an employee of the store, which only seemed to anger the bald elf, who was outraged that a mere employee dared to cross a customer. He even felt that Li Chong was treating him with disdain because he was an elf. But the man didn't understand. When had he ever treated this elf with disdain in the first place? In that case, the elf said that Li Chong did it right now. He started to get indignant and shouted that all humans thought they were better than elves. Li Chong strongly assured the customer that his race had nothing to do with it. The bald elf started rolling around on the floor, accusing them of everything, that they had treated him with disdain and that it was discrimination. Li Chong asked the customer to stop, because he might hurt himself, but the elf kept on rising, saying that young people don't respect their elders at all. Li Chong kept trying to stop him, because if the customer continued to roll around on the floor, he might accidentally hit the shelves and bring them down on himself. Unable to contain her emotions and patience, the boss pressed the button to call the police, who arrived shortly. A police officer took away the insolent elf who was rampaging in the store, and the other employee, who was an elf, started asking questions. If she got it right, the bald man hadn't paid for his drinks, was yelling and accusing them of discrimination. And the boss confirmed the hunch, even decided to show the CCTV footage. Opening the door, the boss wanted to help, but the elf girl decided to see for herself and it would only take a minute. In the meantime, a conversation came up about the elves from Li Chan's world, and the boss asked what they were like. The man said that they are all majestic and beautiful. Elves are often described as a noble race, but here, there was something wrong. The boss was a little embarrassed, but still said that they were like this. Before the war, a few decades ago, there was a huge scientific breakthrough that could make life easier for all races. Humans were the ones who developed it all. Having tasted the delights of technology and science, many races agreed to implement it all into their lives. Vast regions were being developed in the name of a better life. Scientific progress was destroying nature, but no one cared but one race. The elves refused to incorporate science into their lives, harboring deep resentment. So soon, war broke out. Li Chong was stunned that the war started because of scientific progress. The girl explained that the elves were very close to nature. They tried to prevent its total destruction. They smashed factories and other industrial buildings, putting other races in a choice: evolve further with the humans or follow the elves and remain independent. Thus, it was unanimously decided to take the path of scientific progress. After all, even if all races united against the humans, the war could last to this day. In the end, humans and elves came to a peaceful agreement, but the consequences of the war were too devastating. The numbers of both races were greatly reduced. Therefore, seeing either of them on the street was rare. In that case, Li Chong asked what had become of the elves in the end. The boss explained that the remaining elves had gone to live in civilization, but they were often oppressed and discriminated against. Still, the boss said that lately the discrimination has been on the wane. She reminded about the elf policewoman who entered the room with cameras, and she also had hair of different colors. The boss assumed that this girl had worked her ass off to get the position. That's why the tips of her hair were dyed black. At that time, the boss also asked Li Chan to be polite to the elves if such a customer came by. He was surprised. Is it really necessary to show respect, even to uncles like that bald elf? But the boss objected. She absolutely forbade Li Chan from wasting his good manners on the likes of that bald elf. Even remembering him makes the girl angry. She ordered to kick out the customers if anyone dared to swear at the young man, asking him to be careful that nothing happened to him, and Li Chong accepted all the conditions. As the policeman was leaving, the man reminded the boss that it was time for her to leave as her shift was over, and she said she would leave as soon as the policeman came out. The elven girl finished her work and the boss thanked her for her service. She asked the policeman's girlfriend to talk to her on the way out, if she didn't mind of course, and the elf girl agreed. The policewoman explained that they would arrest the bald elf, and the punishment would be determined after they knew all the circumstances. After saying goodbye, the boss asked Li Chan to text her if anything happened, and the elfess thanked her for her cooperation. After saying goodbye to everyone, the man plopped his head on the counter and exhaled heavily. When you think about it, it's only the second day, but there's all sorts of nonsense going on again. Li Chong felt that he had to get used to it soon, otherwise he wouldn't last long. Soon a customer entered the store. The man looked up and noticed a familiar face that he wished he hadn't seen. It was that vicious chihuahua again, the one who told the man off for sleeping on the job. The dog inquired if the man was going to work. In that case, Li Chong thought to himself, could this customer be kicked out? The man asked what exactly was the dog looking for. The chihuahua asked him about toothpaste, and Li Chan pointed to the rack where he had picked up a toothbrush last time. This didn't please the nervous dog. He expressed his displeasure that he didn't have to memorize every item bought from this store. He even assured Li Chong that the man was working behind his sleeves. So the dog asked the salesman to properly explain where the toothpaste was. At this moment, Li Chong in his thoughts complained to this dog that he was being beaten morally. Having no choice, he asked the shopper to follow him. Coming to a rack of merchandise, he asked for a selection to suit all taste. The chihuahua inquired which paste was the best, but Li Chong had no idea. In that case, the dog inquired, how could he sell a product he didn't know? After all, the man works here. But Li Chong wondered if the mutt had too many requests. Anyway, the man offered the dog a set of 1+1, but the dog only wanted one paste. Li Chong explained that the second one was given for free, suggesting that it was cool to give something for free. The dog looked at the item and decided to buy it, giving Li Chong 10,001, and also had his eye on another item, so he asked to punch it in as well. In that case, along with all of this, it came out to 6,301. And since this item was also on promotion, Li Chong gave another item, but the chihuahua asked to keep it since he didn't need it. The man couldn't do that since this dog had paid for the item. But as it turned out, this only infuriated the dog. He explained that he wouldn't come begging for money for it, so he asked Li Chong not to worry. When the chihuahua left, however, Li Chong wondered if this dog would become their regular customer. He leaves something for him every time. The man even assumed that since he came today, he must be working somewhere nearby. He couldn't believe he had to put up with him every single day. Soon another customer came in. She greeted the seller, and Li Chong immediately remembered that succubus girl who looked like a ghost. The girl inquired if they were selling resignation statements. Li Chong didn't understand what the girl who was here yesterday was doing here. He hoped she wouldn't go on a rampage again. He wondered how she was feeling, because from the looks of it, she was hungover, but she was much calmer than yesterday. Sitting at the checkout counter and talking on the phone, the boss told the man to use the curse meter, and if all was well, to let her go. Li Chong was in agreement, and if the meter showed anything strange, he would call the boss again. In fact, Li Chong was scared that she would turn into that frightening ghost again, he even thought of doing nothing. But thinking of the boss's words and the fact that he might get a bonus again, the man was determined to do everything right. For the money, of course. He turned to the girl and, pointing to the curse meter, explained to her that because of yesterday's incident, he would have to use this device if the girl was going to keep coming to this store. Of course, if the girl didn't mind. The girl didn't mind and held out her hand, and Lee Chan thanked her for her cooperation. When Lee Chan was measuring her with the meter, she called out to the guy and then turned away embarrassed and closed her eyes, saying that he was very uncomfortable because of yesterday, so she apologized. Lee Chong in turn recalled that last night, they had the whole floor covered in rainbow vomit, but the girl fell to her knees in shame and asked the salesman not to continue. She still couldn't look the man in the eye, but explained that she had a little too much mana at work yesterday, so she was out of it. She apologized to Lee Chan once again, saying that she had no excuses. In that case, the young man asked her what kind of work she was doing that she was so out of control. After opening her eyes, the succubus told him that she worked for a local pharmaceutical company, and yesterday they had been working on a spell potion. Li Chong was curious, as he was sure that only magicians created potions. The girl explained that it was true, but they were like succubi working with everything related to love, saying that people don't know a lot of things. The girl went on to explain that their race is very skilled in charm and enchantment, which is why they are the closest to love. She also said that succubi work for pharmaceutical companies that produce various love-related drugs, or become psychiatrists or counselors for people who have problems with that feeling. To make a long story short, the girl explained that she had a completely bad day yesterday, so she was out of sorts, so once again she apologized to the man. Li Chong couldn't think what succubi were really like, but they seemed to be very good in this world, but there were still some things he didn't understand. He asked the girl why she wanted to quit her job. After all, judging from the above, the girl was now working in a company for which her skills were perfectly suited. Therefore, Li Chong didn't understand what was the matter. In that case, in a trembling voice and with tears in her eyes, the girl confessed that she has never been in a relationship, and she has no idea what love is. This shocked the man, since she is a succubus after all. That's true, but the girl explained that during her studies, she only did what she did hard day and night, so romance was out of the question, and since it was her first job, she wanted to prove herself. However, she has no idea what love is, so everything goes wrong all the time. With tears in her eyes, the girl also told Li Chan that she had asked her co-workers about love many times, but everyone answered in different ways, making her even more confused. It was for this reason that the succubus thought that this job was probably not for her, so she came to buy an application. Rubbing his head, Li Chong thought that the girl was thinking too much, and the girl was in agreement. The man looked at this lady and thought that she was taking everything too personally, so he decided to motivate her. He expressed his belief that the first job for anyone is very difficult, you just have to try not to dwell only on the bad things. At this moment, the girl stared intently at Li Chan and then broke the news. In fact, she came here as she had the man's words stuck in her mind the last time he put her in a cab. She asked, "What is love?" And the man replied, "When you don't do what you want to do." Those were the words that stuck in her head. But Li Chan said those words just came out of his mouth. But for the girl, these words were very inspiring, as many said that love is simple, full of joy and happiness, and some said that it hurts. At that moment, the man did not understand what was going on here and what ridiculous situation he was in. The girl expressed that only Li Chan had said something completely different. He said something so unusual and fresh, that's why it stuck in her mind. The man asked the customer to calm down, but the girl still wondered what was the meaning behind the man's words. What else did he think about love? The girl urged him to answer, and the man couldn't help himself as he had seen this kind of look before. In any case, Li Chong apologized to the customer, because in fact, he himself doesn't know anything about love. He confessed to the girl that he had no experience in relationships either. This surprised the girl, thinking that Li Chan was lying, but the man revealed his face. He said he looked like he had randomly gotten the ugliest face. There was an awkward silence, and Li Chan just turned away from the girl, thinking to himself that he wasn't asking for understanding, but wanted the girl to go home. After taking some notes, the girl explained that before they started, she clarified that everything they would talk about would stay within the confines of this store. The information obtained would only be used for personal use, so she asked Li Chong to feel free. Sitting in front of the girl, the man didn't realize what he was even doing. He felt that he couldn't help her in any way since he hadn't been in a relationship with anyone since he was born, so he couldn't know anything about love. But the girl was very enthusiastic and was wondering where to start. In that case, the man realized that it was better to change the subject, so he suggested the girl to try to meet someone, which surprised the girl very much. She didn't even realize it was about her. Li Chong explained that he was embarrassed to say such a thing, but he was sure that the girl had probably met someone with whom she would like to be closer. The girl was stunned by the man's words that she should get to know someone better. She certainly met such people, but every time she just passed by because she was scared. And as soon as she joined the company, she immediately began to study love. Books kept saying that love is a great thing. However, it cannot be seen because all opinions about love are so different, she thought. The girl suggested, what if love is not what it really is? Clasping her hands to her chest, the succubus explained that these thoughts made her afraid, so she avoided everyone. Looking at the girl, she thought that Li Chang would probably think it was strange that a succubus was afraid of love. But the man expressed that there was nothing strange about it, since they're all afraid of the unknown, especially when it comes to love, which is the most complicated of all feelings. But still, Li Chang thought that since love was part of the girl's job, he should treat love in a simpler way. The girl didn't understand. How could it be simpler? The man recalled the succubus words that love is a great thing. But to be honest, it was hard for Li Chang to agree. In that case, the girl asked what made the man think that way. Li Chang explained that he thought so, at least as he looked at his married friend. Li Chang said that when the friend started dating the girl, he bragged to her every time, saying that their couple was made in heaven. But when they got married and started living together, they began to notice things they hadn't seen before. One wanted one thing, the other wanted another. Because of this, frequent arguments began, and eventually they said they regretted getting married. The succubus then asked the man how it was that Li Chan's friend and his friend's wife turned out to be so different. Li Chan confirmed that they were, and said that his friend had liked everything about the girl when they were just dating. With a sad face, he expressed that it's actually not just about his friend. After all, once the situation becomes different, love changes too. Usually, something great stays that way no matter what. However, even love is subject to change. Because love is a feeling that is experienced by beings who are themselves very different. Therefore, Li Chang was sure that one should just date and not be weighed down by other people's difficulties. Love might be a beautiful feeling, but it definitely wasn't the greatest. That was exactly what Li Chang thought. Speaking of which, the man also warned the girl not to fall into dangerous love. But the girl didn't understand what that meant. In that case, the man explained that there are two kinds of love. The first kind is imposition. The man literally asks and insists that the partner watch him love her, but the partner often doesn't need it. The second kind is stalking. The person literally stalks their victim, sending all sorts of letters and such, but never reveals their identity. Li Chan found these two kinds of love to be the most dangerous. They leave scars one way or another. After all, sometimes someone closes their heart forever. In fact, there are many kinds of love, but only these are one-sided. But for Li Chan, love is not created for one being. It seems to him that a feeling can only be called love when a relationship is established through mutual exchange of that feeling. Therefore, one should be careful of dangerous love and try to take a simpler attitude towards relationships. At this point, the girl was taking notes and wondered if she would succeed. After all, everything was so complicated. But Li Chan was sure that she would succeed, since he thought she was a very attractive girl. He apologized for saying that, but he was sure that many men would be happy to date her. So asked the girl to be confident and try not to overthink things. But suddenly Li Chan realized that he had started talking without thinking, so he apologized. But the girl explained that it was no big deal. She's never been in a relationship, but she creates love potions. So she sincerely understands Li Chan since he is just like her. Moreover, she was curious to know the opinion of someone who has never had a relationship. At this point, Li Chan felt that he was just being humiliated by saying all this. Soon the man asked the customer if she would be late for work, since the first bus was about to arrive. In that case, the girl left and thanked the man for his help and for talking to her. And Li Chang was pleased to know that. He also held out a box with something. Honestly, I don't know what it is, but since the girl is going to work, this stuff will make the girl feel better at the office since the succubus drank yesterday. The girl thanked the man and then turned around to ask, if she didn't succeed, could she come to him again? After a while, the boss was surprised that Li Chan allowed the succubus to come again. She asked Cheney not to take such customers seriously. After all, succubi are known for becoming possessed. In that case, Li Chan wondered if that was true, and the girl confirmed that it was. And if you do something wrong, you're in trouble. So she asked Cheney to be extremely careful, and the man agreed to these terms. Soon the conversation turned to the baby dragon, as she was not seen here today. Li Chan was surprised that she didn't show up, as she still had a lot to do. At that moment, there was some kind of sound, and the employees thought something had broken. Running outside, the boss wondered if the cyclist was okay. And if Mr. Toy Car was hurt, the bicyclist thanked for his concern, but said he was fine. And Li Chang was surprised that it was a robot. The boss didn't understand the words that the robot was okay, as the sound of falling was heard in the whole neighborhood. And the robot apologized for scaring them and also thanked them for their help. She wondered, how did the robot fall in a flat place? The robot explained that an unforeseen thing happened as the bike stopped working. Li Chong pointed out that the bike's chain had come off. Most likely, the robot was shifting gears, so the chain came off. In that case, Li Chong decided to put the chain back on, and then change gears. And the bike was as good as new, which really surprised the boss and the robot that Li Chong fixed the bike so quickly. The robot was overjoyed, and the boss praised Li Chong for being a handyman. The man explained that he had ridden his bicycle a lot as a child, hence the knowledge. In that case, the robot held out a business card, saying that if they needed anything, they could call him. He was the boss of the SUYA factory, which specialized in destroying monsters. Besides, one call would be on him. Li Chong thought it was unnecessary, but the robot wanted to thank him in some way, so he asked him to call him, and then said goodbye, leaving on his vehicle. After saying goodbye, the boss reminded Li Chong that it was time for him to go home, as tomorrow would be a busy day. The man wondered if the goods would arrive tomorrow. But the girl explained that tomorrow was Friday, so if he didn't rest properly, he would die tomorrow. And Li Chong finally remembered that tomorrow is Friday, which means everyone is out partying. Finally, it was Friday afternoon, or to be more precise, Blazing Friday. This day was literally the most flaming day of the week. A day when everyone goes into a frenzy, relieving the tension and stress of the past work week. But what do ordinary creatures of this world do to relieve stress? Alcohol, of course. Thanks to this, it's a profitable day in all the bars, and that goes for the stores too. However, the customers here are very different from the ones in the bars we have in the real world. The man raised his bottle of soju and explained that he would now sing his 18-year-old song, and asked if everyone was ready. The elf eating popcorn was ready, and the man with the green hair, who was drunk out of his mind, started singing his 18-year-old song. It was about some wind and how he misses a lot and stuff like that. And as this elf sang, a girl with wings flew by, singing along to the young man. It was a harpy flying all over the place. Yes, that's the kind of visitors one gets on Friday nights. Li Chong wondered, who would want to work at the store after something like this? As he continued to drink drinks and eat popcorn, Li Chong was very angry. He turned to the expensive customers and explained that he understood that they were having fun, but urged them not to open the items without paying for them. The two male elves apologized, saying that they would pay for everything now. Soon, someone called out to Li Chong, asking for a little help. The girl soared upwards and then fell into the guy's arms, expressing her confidence that she had finally become a swan. But at this moment, all Li Chong could think of was that this girl should go home and dance to her death. He voiced his displeasure, telling the customer that he could not do such things here. But soon he heard some noise. It was the Minotaur, who had broken the glass, scaring the two elves. By the way, the Minotaur didn't quite understand where he was, and the girl just fell down at that moment. The Minotaur assumed he had just been at the bar, and somehow ended up in the store. This bull even inquired if he had broken anything, and looking at Li Chong, one could tell that he was very displeased as this Minotaur had broken the glass. Soon, Li Chong called the boss and she inquired if he was alive. Li Chong asked the boss to save him, but to his regret, she apologized to him since she was also at death's door. Would you like to see the next installment? Write the secret word, buyer, in the comments. That way I'll know you've watched to the end, which means you want to see part 2. That's all for now. See you later and bye-bye.